Okay, picture this. A kingdom that's literally swimming in oil wealth, but it's facing a crisis you'd never expect. It's running out of water. This is the incredible story of how they're trying to solve that problem by building something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
You heard that right. We're talking about a man-made underground river system, a network of pipes stretching for thousands upon thousands of kilometers. Its mission, to bring life to a land that naturally has almost no water at all. It's a project that basically looks at the laws of nature and says, yeah, we can do better.
So, this obviously brings up a couple of huge questions. First, how on earth are they actually pulling this off? And maybe more importantly, what's the price of a miracle like this? What's the hidden cost? To really get our heads around this thing, we have to start with the fundamental problem. And it's a massive paradox. A country with almost unimaginable wealth that is, at the same time, facing extreme water poverty. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the situation. All the money in the world can't change the simple, harsh facts of geography. And the facts are pretty stark. Think about it. This is the largest country on the entire planet with zero, not one, natural river. Almost the whole place is scorching desert. Then you throw in a population that has just exploded and rainfall that's practically non-existent. You've got the perfect recipe for a full-blown crisis. Now, for a long time, Saudi Arabia thought it had found the answer. It started tapping into this deep, ancient source of water. But as we're about to see, that short-term solution quickly turned into a much, much bigger long-term problem. The solution was something called fossil water. Now, this isn't your normal groundwater that gets refilled by rain. No, this is ancient stuff, trapped underground for thousands, sometimes millions of years. The key thing to remember is this. Once you use it, it is gone forever. It does not come back. So here's how a really good idea went so spectacularly wrong. Back in the 70s, the country wanted to be self-sufficient, so it launched this massive program to grow its own wheat in the desert. A noble goal, right? But what it actually did was drain the country's entire water savings account. And fast. And this chart just drives that point home. That push for farming ended up guzzling a staggering 85% of all the fresh water in the country, and almost all of that was the non-renewable fossil water. It wasn't long before NASA satellites confirmed the worst. Those ancient aquifers were pretty much running on empty. This is the perfect way to think about it. They were burning through their one and only natural water reserve with absolutely no way to top it back up. It was clear they needed a new plan, a radical one, and they needed it yesterday. And that brings us to the solution, the big, groundbreaking idea. If you don't have a river, well, why not just build one? And not just any river, but a massive underground network on a scale that's almost hard to comprehend. Let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale here. The total length of this network of pipes is planned to be 12,000 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that is literally more than twice the length of the actual Nile River. And what about the volume? Well, the system is engineered to move 9.4 million cubic meters of fresh water, not per year, not per month, every single day. That amount is just staggering. But here's the catch. Moving all that water, often uphill to cities in the mountains, takes a truly insane amount of power. The pumping stations alone are going to chew up 9% of the entire country's electricity supply, just for the water. So if the fossil water is gone and they don't have rivers, where is all this water actually coming from? Well, the answer is the ocean, thanks to the incredible technology of desalination. You know, there are really two main ways to turn salty seawater into fresh drinking water. The old school method is called multi-stage distillation. It's basically a really, really complex way of boiling the water to leave the salt behind. But the newer, much more efficient way is reverse osmosis. That's where they use immense pressure to literally squeeze seawater through membranes that are so fine, only the water molecules can get through.
And let's be clear, this tech isn't just a small part of their strategy, it is the strategy. Right now, a full 2/3 of all of Saudi Arabia's fresh water comes from its 28 giant desalination plants.
But here's where the story takes a turn. Creating a river out of the sea, it sounds like a perfect solution, but it's not. This incredible achievement has created a new problem that's just as massive and just as dangerous. So you have to ask, right? What happens when you strip the salt out of billions and billions of liters of seawater? Where does all that salt actually go?
Well, this number right here, this is the hidden cost. Every single day, the desalinization process creates 329,000 tons of waste product.
And this isn't just salty water. It's a super concentrated toxic sludge called brine. And that enormous number, 329,000 tons, that's not a one-time thing. That's produced every single day. And guess where it goes? Right back into the sea.
To really feel the weight of that number, get this. It's like taking 1,600 blue whales by weight and dumping them into the ocean every day. This brine is so salty and so toxic that it just sinks to the bottom and chokes out all marine life, creating these huge underwater dead zones where nothing can survive. So in the process of solving one environmental crisis, they've created a whole new one. But the story doesn't stop there. The focus is now shifting to a new challenge. How do you solve the problem created by the solution?
And there are a couple of really smart ideas on the table. One is to use these complex diffuser systems on the seafloor to spread the brine out so it's not so concentrated and deadly in one spot. But the other idea, which is even cooler, is something called brine mining. The idea is to stop thinking of it as waste and start treating it as a resource you can mine for valuable stuff like magnesium and potassium. And all this really brings us to a final big picture thought. The story of Saudi Arabia's artificial river is an absolutely mind-blowing example of what humans can engineer. But it also makes us ask a really critical question, not just for them, but for all of us. Can our technology ever really conquer a problem like scarcity? Or does it just change its shape, transforming it into a brand new challenge for the next generation to solve?